What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another video. Special guest in the building. Needs very little introduction. I think you don't know this guy by now. Where you been hiding, man? Turkish in the building. What's happening, bro?
What are you saying, G? I'm not that special, bro. I'm just a guest. I'm just a guest. I'm just your brethren on the channel.
Special guest, man. Special guest. You've been talking the truth for a long time on AFTV and on your own channel, man. So it's a pleasure to have you on.
No worries, bro. It's good to have someone that joined AFTV in the past couple of years that kind of agrees with that and sees what I'm talking about. I don't think there's enough of us, not only on AFTV, but online in the fan base to make the necessary change. But it's refreshing to have you there as well.
Yeah, man. What I wanted to ask you, because obviously I haven't had you on here really. You came on one time for about 20 minutes, but Mikel Arteta, let's start with Arteta, the manager. I've been a little bit critical of him in the past few weeks. I think the style of football, the team selection, the man management has been questionable at times. I suppose we don't need to panic too much because we are only 6 points off the top. What have you made of him so far since he's been at the club?
Overall, I think there's more positives than negatives. And I'm pretty confident with that. I think that if you look at the overall impact, yes, it's short term, but defensively you can see a lot more organization and a lot more structure. That's at the detriment of the attack, as we've seen. But at the same time, we haven't seen good organization and defensive structure for a long time. And it got to a point with Wenger and about 7-8 years ago when I don't really care about good football anymore. It's not about that Arsenal. We haven't even got a base to build off of. We've needed to build that base over so many years before we can talk about good football again. You can't just switch from, all right, we played good football in the first half of Wenger's era, and even 2/3 in. But that changed a long time ago in terms of the impact and were we winning and were we doing what we needed to do? Were we challenging? Were we getting the best out of the squad? No, we wasn't, but we were still playing good football, And I had to think to myself, good football doesn't really matter,
No.
Winning essentially is what you want your club to do. So I think that what Arteta's brought in there is something I haven't seen in a while. That's why I'd say more positives than negatives, because he's brought structure and organization, And he's also shown me that he can change it up when necessary. And he's got the opportunity to show me that again this weekend. It has to be done. But he's shown it before after Brighton and Man City. We switched to the back three, the back five. That's not what he wanted to do. But after Brighton and Man City, he probably assessed his options and said, it's probably what I'd have to do for now. And it worked, And he was asked recently that has he sacrificed the Arsenal way in terms of the football he's playing? And he insinuated that this ain't the football he wants to be playing. It's the football that he has to play, So that tells me, again, he's not happy with it either, which in my eyes kind of relieves him of that pressure, which is our lack of creativity and attack. Because then you can look at the transfer window where, again, it's out of his hands and we didn't do it. We identified that we need creativity, but we didn't do it. We needed creativity too. We should have replaced Ozil 2 years ago. Emery needed that. And do you remember it came to a point where Emery started playing Torreira number 10?
Yeah.
Don't you think that was him taking a risk of trying to play him number 10? Looking back now, obviously at the time we were all like, what's going on?
What's he doing? Yeah.
He was taking a risk because the fans wanted that risk in terms of being a bit more, high pressing, like the modern era football. And he thought that would work. And that risk was one of the risks that cost him his job in the end. Now we're asking Arteta to take more risks, but those more risks are going to open up more leaks in the back, Now with Arteta, the negatives are he's, again, taking it all on his chest, similar to what Wenger did. Every decision is his decision. Everything is supported. Everything is backed. Everything is positive in that aspect. But to me, it's evident that it's not. Because if he's fed up with the Saliba situation, for example, you're only fed up if it hasn't worked out how you want it.
Yeah, of course.
If you've supported them back, So there's evidence that they haven't supported and backed him fully in the transfer window. And on top of that, the creative midfielder we identified we needed, and we know we needed before identifying anyway as a fan base, we didn't get. So yeah, there's more positives than negatives, but I just think that it's a bit too soon to
Start
question.
jumping on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think there's been so much frustration? Do you think it's because a lot of fans are used to that attractive football, and then he's tried to organise us, and we're not used to what we're seeing?
I grew up on boring Arsenal as well as the
Yeah.
Invincibles. You know, I've seen two sides of the coin. You
Mm.
know, and even when you look at, for example, Chelsea when they first became a top club and the money came in, Mourinho made them a very difficult outfit to beat. A lot of
Yeah.
games were boring, but they won things. You know, and it was a base that they built off. And since then, I don't think people have called Chelsea boring.
No.
You know, that's what every club needs, a base to work off of. Similar to Liverpool, who brought Van Dijk and Alisson in. It's all good and well doing the 30 million Salahs or Manes and the good deals, but they had to spend big on the necessary positions, the base of the
Yeah.
team.
Yeah, you're
You
right.
know, and we've seen it time and time again. And I don't think Gabriel and Tierney over 2 windows is enough progress for me. Gabriel and Tierney in 1 window, I'd be
Is
like,
good.
okay, we've added 2 first choice defenders into the team in 1 window. That's
Yeah.
positive. But stretching it over a couple windows, it just reeks of that same, Ozil Sanchez check when we should have done all in 1 window, but we spread it over 3 years. By
Yeah.
the time one comes in, the other one's nearly finished, and it's just a roundabout of changes required.
You love that roundabout shout, innit? I've seen that one on AFTV a few times, man.
Everything's a roundabout at this club, bro, because we've seen it before, I lie.
Yeah, yeah, we have.
We've been here before, Curtis.
We
We've been
have.
here before,
We have.
many Novembers, many Decembers, many Januaries. I know what's coming around the corner. I knew Arteta would be under pressure come December because
Did
we
you
just
think so?
haven't got the players.
So looking at the summer transfer window, I think the club covered it up very well. What they did, they got Partey at the last minute. It sent us all into excitement, and it kind of covered up the fact that we didn't get the creative player. Maybe we needed another centre back as well. Do you think then Arteta wasn't back sufficiently in the summer?
No, he wasn't. I think take Arteta out of the equation, yeah? Let's say, did Arsenal Football Club do enough this summer? No,
No
we
chance.
didn't,
No.
because it's departures as well as incoming.
Yeah.
You can debate both for half an hour each about who
Yeah.
should have left and who could have left and who should have come in and who could have come in.
Yeah.
So overall, we didn't do what we had to do, and it's been the same every window since we've left Highbury. People can argue back then, obviously, there wasn't as much emphasis on transfer windows as there is now because the money wasn't prevalent. But even back then, we was a club that, not manipulated the market, but we came in with a new strategy and we undercut the market, let's say, and we picked out some gems. You can still do that now, but you have to do more to give the fans hope now. You can't just sign a few under the radar signings and then think it's going to be all good and well, because those under the radar signings more often than not need a platform to play on. Like Gabriel. Gabriel's coming very solid, very solid. But let's see how much that 3-0 loss to Villa plays on his head. Let's see the partnerships he plays in this season, and Holding has already put him under pressure this year. Luiz is bound to do it. Mustafi has cost us a goal in Leicester game, for example. So already the people around him ain't,
they're not good enough, are they?
They're not.
And the thing is, sometimes you get like a great player in the team, but I use this analogy that like you can pollute them with the rubbish around them. Like even Partey in the first game, couple games was amazing, and then he started to get exposed a little bit because of what's around him. And it's like, what do you think we're going to do in January? Because I see today we're being linked with Isco. I mean, you don't know half the time, is it just paper talk during international break? But would someone like Isco appeal to you? They're talking about on loan and 20 million at the end of the season.
Listen, Isco, that guy, 3 years ago, I would have jumped at the chance.
Yeah, baller.
I love Isco, but even though I loved him, looking at the last few years, he hasn't been the same player, even when given chance. You can say the platform hasn't been right because he doesn't really play consistently, but he's fallen off. And signing Isco, to me, we might as well go sign Benzema as well, go sign Jan and Villa, all them old school man that were just linked
Jan
to
and Villa,
all them man. It's like we need to move on because it's just plasters, Curtis.
Yeah.
It's like being shanked and putting a plaster over it. All right. cool, it covers it, yeah, but you're
The
still
wound's
leaking
still
out of the
there. Yeah,
plaster,
yeah,
man. You're still
yeah.
leaking out either side, bro. You
It's
know, because
true.
you need surgery. You need to get that stitched up once and for all. You
Yeah,
know, our club, like Willian, is another plaster. We needed creativity, and I always looked at Willian and thought, I bet come the end of the window, we don't get the creative man, because I didn't believe a war until the last couple of weeks of the window.
yeah,
And then we'll act like Willian is the creative man, you know, that we
yeah.
brought
That's
in.
it.
And
That's
it
it.
was in the end, you know. And
Mm,
Arteta talks about Willian, you know, making an impact in the final third and all this, but he's being utilized more for his defensive attributes. He's being picked over Pepe for work
crazy.
rate and defensive awareness more so than anything. So
Yeah.
as much as you laud his attacking qualities, you know, he hasn't shown that to us. I don't care
No.
what he's done for Chelsea.
Exactly. That's irrelevant. Let's talk about someone that, I mean, you've spoken about numerous times. I've loved the conversations on supporters club and all that. Mesut Ozil. I mean, as you said there, we should have probably moved him on a year, 2 years ago, but he is still at the club. He's in the last year of his contract. Having not moved him on in the summer, which to me they should have just paid him up, but it's easier said than done. Do you think he should have been in the 25-man squad?
Pro-
That's a good answer.
Are we talking up of quality, or are we talking like just overall, knowing everything we know, should he be in the 25-man squad?
Well, I mean, do we think he's done anything that wrong that justifies him not being in the squad? I mean, the stuff he said about China and not taking a pay cut, do you think that's enough to leave him out? It's not a footballing decision, is it? There's not 25 better players than him.
No, it's not solely football, I know, but it's also easy to say that without remembering that we've given him chances in the past couple of years that he's failed to grab as well. So
Yeah.
I'll agree, there's not 25 players better than him in this squad, 100%, you know. But knowing that behind the scenes, there's been stuff. Now, the China thing, I'm fully on Ozil's side on that, fully.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I look at the bigger picture, and he played after those comments.
He did, yeah.
Football. So as much as people say the finances and the impact, that comment and him being taken off of Pro Evo and whatever else, yeah, we got paid what we got paid for the TV rights already, regardless if China want to take us off TV. So that argument doesn't run, yeah? It might have had some impact commercially. Maybe Ozil shirts get taken down. Cool. But at the end of the day, he played after those comments. So I have to put that to the side for a sec. The pay cut, I understand the debate that he should have. I understand the debate that he shouldn't have. You know, I can understand both sides to that argument. All I know is when you've got young men in the squad, when you're the highest earner, when you're the biggest name, when you're one of the older people, one of the leaders, or meant to be, you not taking it, and Arteta alluded to it in lockdown. I forgot what interview it was, but I think Arteta talked to the team, innit? Not in person. It must have been a Zoom or something. So I put myself in Arteta's shoes and imagine I've got 25, 30 man on Zoom, yeah? And I've said, this is the issue, explained it all. A pay cut is required. You can see what's going on all over the world. And 23 of those 26 players, or 27 of the 30, or however many it is, say, yes, boss. But then the highest earner, the main man, comes out and, you know, it kind of...
It sends a bad message, don't it, throughout?
Regardless of if it's right or wrong and the true meaning behind it. Arteta, in his first 6 months as a manager, this is not an experienced guy. It's someone in his first 6 months, and someone who was a friend of Ozil's, you know?
Yeah.
They've played together. So it's like, maybe
you're doing that to me, yeah.
Yeah, so I just feel like I understand both sides of that argument. And then in the summer, he must have been told, Curtis, that you're not going to be part of this squad. So let's move you on.
Yeah.
But because of the loyalty bonus and whatever else, he dug his heels in. And as soon as the season was about to start, he done a Q&A. In that Q&A, he has millions of questions. He picks out one question in particular. Are you going to play? He says, I'm fit, I'm ready, but I don't pick the side. Again, if I'm Arteta, I'm looking at that. However many million fans he's got, and I'm thinking, you just putting pressure on me now.
Yeah.
I told you 3-4 weeks ago that we're not going to use you as much as you might like, you know. But he done that, put pressure on Arteta. He wasn't in the first squad. And then the Premier League squad comes out, Europa League, he's not in them. And then he comes out with more, you know, PR.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there's wrongs in both camps, Curtis.
Yeah,
All
there
I
is.
can say is, do I blame Arteta for leaving him out? I don't, because I understand why he is vexed with Ozil as well. It's not
Of
just
course.
reasons, 100%. But we can't forget that Wenger dropped Ozil towards the end.
He
Henry
did.
dropped Ozil, and now it's the third manager. Let's not forget that. But I also agree it's not all footballing reasons. But I understand Arteta being vexed about some things over the past 6 months, bro.
It's true. And the funny thing is, I remember when Emery tried to drop him, and the fans didn't really back Emery on that. I remember he got a lot of criticism for that. And then now Arteta's dropped him. It seems like the fans have accepted it this time. So it's strange how people have picked when to support that and when not to.
Yeah.
But if he's got £13 million left on his contract or whatever, it's probably less than that now. But I think at the end of the window they said 13 million. If you're Arteta, do you not go to the board and say, look, man, you're going to pay him 13 million over that contract. Get him in that office and get that contract terminated. Because if I'm Arteta, I don't want to be asked about Mesut Ozil in every single press conference. It must be annoying him.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think, remember when it was rumored that we might do that towards the end of the transfer window? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
And looking at that, I think maybe that was the case towards the end, but the way Ozil handled it too, and the pressure on Arteta, I feel like Arteta is tit for tat. So I feel like Arteta probably thought to himself, why are we gonna pay you off now so you can sign for another club and double up on your P's? You're out of the squad. You're out of the squad. And I think in January you're right, because then it comes the case of, do you want to continue proving that you're the man and you can leave him out if you want? Or do you want to get rid of all these questions around creativity and whether Ozil can come back in? I think it's the latter. And I think in January, you have to pay off that contract. Just pay it off. If not December, but it depends on how Ozil plays it too. Because if Ozil continues taking the piss on Twitter and all that, every game and all of these things, then Arteta might look at it like, let him do his thing, but I don't give a shit about all these questions, So it depends.
Do you think there's any way that Ozil, if he just trains, do you think there's any way he can get himself back in where Arteta says, look, man, I can't get a creative player in January. Do we just use him for the last 3 or 4 months?
Nah, bro. I don't think so. Because Ozil's a guy you have to play through as well. So as much as people like to bring up this, Ozil's created the most chances per 90 minutes under Arteta. That is true. But as a football club, last season, when you look at chances created with Ozil and without as a team, there was no difference. It was the same number. I think it was about 1.6, 1.7. That signifies that, okay, it might not be coming from one man anymore, but it's coming from other areas on the pitch. And we're creating as many chances as we are with Ozil in the side, but from different outlets. Yeah. So as much as people see that easy stat and say he creates the most, put him in, it's not the reality, because then you're at the detriment of other players and the system, because fullbacks now create a lot more chances than they did when Ozil used to play for us, because we've gone down the fullback route a bit more, So there's agendas in themselves with all these stats. But all I know is that he's done out here, Curtis. There's no chance for him to come back. Zero, zilch. Even if a new manager comes in, I really doubt it. Even if Arteta was sacked in December and then the new Premier League squad is registered by the next manager, I doubt it, because he's got 5 months left then. And what were you bringing him in for? What were you doing with him with 5 months to go? Just pay it off and move. Pay it off and move.
I think you're right. I think in January, if they're not going to register him, which I don't think they will, makes them look a bit silly, really. You've got to pay him up and move on from it.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about something. Was it a year ago, 2 years ago, when you did the protest, Kroenke out protest?
Yeah.
I was there that day as well, by the way, at the kit launch. I never bought the kit. I was only there to do an interview with Robbie, and I saw it, and I thought at the time, it's crazy how our fan base had so much energy towards getting Arsene Wenger out of the club, who, let's face it, whether Wenger did right or wrong, I think he did both. The guy loved the football club. He was a legend of the football club. Stan Kroenke is no legend. I think most Arsenal fans dislike that guy. Why do you think people didn't get behind that? And why do you think in general we haven't put pressure on this owner who seems to be holding the club back in general?
That Wenger thing, it left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, and it divided the fan base
massively.
Yeah, and the division is still the main problem, you know, in terms of why we're not attacking the main problem. The main problem is the division, you know. So we've got many problems to overcome. I thought once the shield was gone, which was Wenger, yeah, I thought
Yeah,
once that shield was gone, it didn't matter who's in charge next. Everything will unfold, which it kind of has unfolded. We see a
yeah,
lot more now than we did under Wenger because he protected it. And then the fans would unite and then, you know, do their thing. But
mm,
let's say the protest last year, that was genuine from the bottom of my heart. You know, a lot of
yeah,
people, a lot of the other sections thought I was doing it for clout or I was doing it for, but I really wasn't. You know,
mm,
there was nothing like you saw there. There was only about 40 people throughout the day that throughout the morning that come. You know, big up
yeah,
everyone that did come, but it was a small amount in comparison to the Wenger ones. You
mm,
know, and the there was no clout to it because no one seems to care about it anymore. You know, I understand there was protests earlier on, I think 2011, 2012, 2013 about Kroenke.
yeah,
But then it turned to Kroenke over Usmanov, and then it turned to Wenger, and now it's turned to nothing. It's just, there's no real groups going at the right problems anymore, you
yeah.
know? And I think that the division is the biggest problem, and it's sad. It's sad
Very
because
sad.
even AFTV, for example, I'm tainted with a brush, and you're probably no, you are tainted with that same brush. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I'm tainted with an AFTV brush that it doesn't matter who you are. Yeah, you know the videos that go viral and the videos that make us look like a joke fan base and people laugh at us from other clubs. They're used as sticks to batter us, but
Of
we're
course,
not like
yeah.
that, fam. We're not
No.
looking at, we're not out here going viral for stupid things. Do you see what I'm saying? We're
Oh,
trying
all,
to
bro.
give our opinion. Me and you actually disagree on a lot of things, but we give our opinions. We have a healthy debate. We
Yeah,
talk and we move on.
that's
There's
it.
nothing to it. You know,
No,
I don't switch off this camera and think that Curtis guy's a right prick. Like, how can he think that
I
Arteta?
hope not.
No, I'm real,
No, I
man.
hear
Like,
you though. I hear you.
you would know if I don't like you, and if I don't
Yeah, of
like you
course.
for a much bigger reason than you not liking a player or a manager,
Exactly.
that's a dickhead thing.
It's
Like,
silly,
you've
bro.
got a real life to live, you know. Like, come on, like, grow up. People need to grow up and open their eyes and stop blaming other fans. Like even I am
Mm,
doing now because it is division of fans, but we need to stop doing that. And once I start seeing a bit more unity, the conversation is eliminated. There is no
mm.
conversation anymore. There is no are the fans divided? We're not. So there is no question, you know. So it's
Do you
just a
think?
mad one.
You think you'd ever have another go at that Kroenke out when the fans can come back?
I want to, Case. I want
Mm,
to, but the reaction from me doing it the first time, it won't get nowhere because of that AFTV brush. It won't
yeah,
get nowhere. I really want to. Hence why even with We Care Do You, I really wanted that to work.
yeah,
Really wanted that to work, you know. Really did. I thought they was onto something. But the comments this summer about, you know, we've seen change over the last year and all of that, and considering we've sold players we bought since Wenger left in a 2-year gap, considering we sacked the manager, considering we was a mess midway through last season, and we hired a manager with no experience after we were told we had no money for a manager. I'm not sure how they could turn around We Care Do You and say it's been a successful year, a progressive year. I don't see it
mm,
at all. And that
yeah,
damages the rep. I hope it can be built back because at the moment, I don't see any other avenue but supporters groups getting together and unifying and putting pressure, not trying to be inside, not trying to be able to email the directors because a lot of
yeah,
people at that level and think, oh, I can email directors. Let me now be nice. Let me be
yeah, yeah,
fair. Nah, fam. Nah, man, don't want that. You know, the same way Spirit of Shankly Group attacked the Liverpool board and on the front foot. We need a group like that for Arsenal that are going to put the interest first. They don't want to have golden handshakes and all of this shit. They just
yeah.
want answers to the questions we pose as fans. And it's a long way away, man. Long way away.
It is a long way away because you know, like you said, you've got your own channel. Go and subscribe to Turkish's channel if you haven't already. I'll put the link in the description. You're one of the most straight talking fans on there, and I've found myself when you say what you really think, a lot of people will not agree with it, and you see sometimes people get a little bit abusive with it, and you think, come on, man, it's football, it's opinions. We're gonna have a difference of opinions, but ultimately we're Arsenal fans. We all want Arsenal to do well. That's the end goal. That's what everybody wants. do you feel like you're like misjudged sometimes by some of these people in the comments and subscribers and that? They'll say, "Oh, you're being negative," or you know what I mean? It's so reactionary sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. There's different sections in it. So like the online fan base even has sections in it. There's a Twitter section that has very loyal Arsenal fans, very loyal fans that have been going for 30, 40 years, you know, that don't like me because of a perception of a channel, you know. They don't like AFTV, so they don't like me or whatever comes out of it, you know. I turn around and if I'm bothered to have a conversation with anyone that thinks like that, I turn around and say it's like cancelling the Sky Sports or saying you don't watch anything from Sky Sports because you don't like Merson, for example.
Yeah.
And in reality, that's one man on a station of different shows, people, and all that. And even Sky Sports play on individuals that do get the most views because that is the way things work. But I take from Sky Sports what I take. That's very little at the moment because I don't see many good shows there.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I do the same for every TV. If I don't like the TV, I don't watch the TV. You know?
Yeah.
So I am definitely misjudged, but we are all. I'm not saying it's you. So what you care is you just haven't seen it as much because I saw it when I tried to do the Cronkating. That's when I saw it. I was like, right, I could never be the face of anything to bring this fan base together. I could never do it. I'll be honest. So
why do you think that is though? Why do you think you couldn't be the face?
Because when people have, I don't even like this word agenda. Yeah, because a lot of the time it's flouted just too easily. It's like, that's an agenda, that's an agenda, that's an agenda. But in reality, this is because people will paint you with a brush, and regardless of what you say, do, act like, you're still painted with that same brush.
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of these people actually agree with what I say because I see it in tweets.
Yeah.
But they don't like me because of where I've come from or what I'm on, or profiting off of Arsenal or YouTube or whatever it is. Yeah, it's these stupid little reasons. There's sections in the fan base and we can't get together, you know, silly reasons that who gives a shit, yeah, about any of that. Let's just get together and utilize, whether it's blogs, whether it's Twitter, whether it's YouTube, whether it's newspaper, whether it's letters, emails, e-commerce, all of that shit. Yeah. Let's utilize it, because if we was to get together, if the biggest supporters groups was to get together, the fan base is strong and they can get messages across. You know, it will still take time from even that moment. But we're not even close to that moment. Hence why I am the way I am now. Win, lose, or draw, I'm just like, well, I don't think anything's coming end of the season, so why am I going to run away with it? After beating United for the first time at OT in the league for how many years? Yeah, I got bare United brethren that make me sick. You know? Maybe not so much over the last 7 years, but made me sick before that. You know, I would have loved to rub it in their face, but really, you know,
you don't really do it too much, innit? Because you know it could be a one-off.
Yeah, you could be. We woke up Monday, ripping United fans, memes going around everywhere of Arsenal fans singing, rapping, doing all of this, yeah. And then the next Monday, we woke up Aston Villa 3, Grealish moving Villa in. You know, egg on your face within 7 days. I'm not on that. I can't lie to you. Like
it doesn't make sense, bro. Let me just read this super chat quick. Gunner TV says, big up Turkish and Curtis. The consistency levels fire. Keep on the grind, lads. Hey, big up, man. I appreciate that. What I wanted to ask you, because you're making some great points here, bro.
Someone said here, sorry, Curtis. This fan base's mindset is that of a 15-year-old. Let's be real. And it can't, and it is. And shall I give you another example? Yeah. And there's going to be people in the chat. Lee Gunner, he divides opinion himself. Imagine a fan. People are arguing about a fan, but he divides opinion in himself, and he's very vocal with his opinion. And I've got a show on his channel now every Monday, and people have messaged me saying, why have you got a show on his channel? Why are you doing that? And my thing is, I'm real. Just because I'm going on someone's channel that you don't like doesn't mean I'm going to change. It means I'm bringing my thoughts and my opinions there. So I'm talking to the same people he's talking to with my opinions. I'm talking to him about my opinions. You know? You can't paint something with the same brush just off the bat. You know, you've got to think further about it. And it's about getting together. It really is about getting together. And I'm not saying that's happened with me and Lee. I'm just giving an example of the reaction to me doing a show on that channel. It's like, rare. you don't like him, but they like me because we are very different.
Yeah, yeah.
When I reply to some of the messages, because I do, I'm just like, listen, I'm giving my opinion to his platform. How is
Yeah.
that a negative? You know, it's like Sky Sports, who I don't really like right now, but it's like them shouting me and saying, yo, do you want to talk about Kroenke for an hour on my channel?
You
But
would
I
go
don't
on.
really like Sky Sports, but are you crazy? Millions of people are going to listen. Of course I'm going to do it.
You're gonna go on there, yeah, of course.
Can I say what I want to say? You're not going to hold me back? Yeah, you can, Turkish. Cool. Calm, because that's all I care about. If I can say what I want to say, cool. No one can hold me back from saying what I want to say or say, be a bit easy on him. None of that. None of that.
So what, have you had a negative response from going on that channel then?
Not, it hasn't been majorly negative because I've done 3 shows already and people have seen that me and Lee have had debates and it's been calm, you know, it's been calm. So it's not like it's not like what they expected and it's something different for them. And that's all I'm saying. Obviously, I'm not changing my ways to go on anyone's channel. Like, I didn't think I'm going to go on Curtis's channel and be like this because he might not like it. No, because
of course not. No.
I can only be myself and talk about what I believe is real to me and to the club. I'm not changing that. You see it. So I did get a few messages and comments, but it was a handful. But it was interesting to see, you know.
Yeah. Bruv, I mean, I think that's what makes these shows is the dynamics of different fans who some are a little more outspoken, some are more laid back. That's what makes YouTube exciting and entertaining at the end of the day. So you just do you at the end of the day, bro. You don't worry about that.
Yeah, man. That's what it is, man. As long as you're real to yourself in your heart, you know what you're trying to send out is right. That's how I live. You know, I'm happy.
How it is, bro. Let me read super chat. He says, nothing will change with the board unless fans unite. Toxicity in the base. Wow, look at the division at the Emirates. Legit fans fighting each other, same old. And I'm sure you've seen it. I've seen it, bro. Arsenal fans fighting each other in and outside the stadium before. Like, I honestly, like, you've been all around the country watching Arsenal. Same with me. Like, I don't see this divide in the Arsenal fan base at any other big club. I don't see it. Why do you think it's so prominent in our fan base?
Oh, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Because the division does come from fan channels and AFTV and the perception of that. But that's not me saying it shouldn't have happened. You know, that's me just being real with it and saying that's where it comes from. And that is always going to be the case until, you know, either our owner changes and we move in a positive way and people can see that the fan channels can be positive.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, shit hits the fan and YouTube goes down and there's no more fan channels. You know, I don't see the division changing, but it is because of what people think of fan channels in reality.
Yeah, I think AFTV gets a lot of blame, but I think it's too easy to do that sometimes. You know, there are way bigger issues than that. And
well, look at last year, Everton, when they started singing and chanting about AFTV out, and there was the video footage of a whole heap of nothing. Let's be honest, a whole heap of nothing, a whole heap of noise. But then, even then, I looked back and I thought to myself, let me look at these interviews on AFTV and what's going on. And there was a lot of people still backing Emery. There was a lot of people still saying it's too early. There was people like me who's saying it doesn't matter if Emery stays or goes. The problem is above.
Yeah.
But because now fan voices, whether it's on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, it's all linked. So it's like someone says something. It's a fan. That fan, fan channel AFTV. Everything goes back to AFTV in their minds, when in reality, you know, AFTV ain't. Like, look at right now, for example, there's a lot more pressure outside of AFTV on Arteta than there is inside of AFTV.
Yeah.
But there's no praise there. There's no insight there. There's no hold on. Are they changing their ways, or, you know? It's only when it suits or when you can relate it back to them and the agenda. Yeah. That's what it is, you know. So it's sad, bro. It's sad. I can't lie to you. It shouldn't be happening.
No, it's not, man. And I think that's why it's important that other people like yourself, like me, Deluded, other people have got channels, because like anything, you can go on YouTube now. You can get, if you like Arsenal, but you want a calmer fan, you want a more opinionated fan. There's different options there. So me personally, I would love to see the fan base come together because, you know, it's a great club, but it's like it's being pulled in different directions. Fans with different opinions. You know, when you go to Liverpool, for example, look how together their fan base is. When they had a problem with a board, like you said, they came together and applied the pressure and things had to change. But Arsenal,
Like, don't get it twisted. As much as I say fan channels, do you know the true reason for us is because of Kroenke? You know,
probably,
they bought, and forget the full ownership, it's the part ownership. As soon as they became majority owner in terms of the 30-something%, over Usmanov, everything to me goes back to them. Yeah. And since then, they created a toxic atmosphere by not building, just continually stripping us of assets, continually stripping us. So the fans were getting vexed, but the fans could only get vexed so much because Wenger is an idol, you know?
Yeah.
So let's say, when did AFTV start? 2013, let's say. 2012.
Yeah, something like that.
2013. So by that time, before fan channels even came about, Chris Hudson, who was one of the first interviews, was already vexed.
Fuming.
He's not vexed of fan channels. He's vexed at the way we were run, you know. Yeah. And he talked about Gazidis and Wenger and all of that, you know. That was one of the very first ones, you know. But it just went wayward from there because of differing opinions or differing reasons for going on the channel, maybe seeking attention or their own agendas or whatever else. And it's just been tainted, you know. It's just been tainted. And it's because of the way Kroenke put Wenger in the firing line. We all loved Wenger at one point. Slowly, we all didn't. And it turned to 50-50 or 60-40 or 70-30, however you want to see it. And then that Wenger out stuff was all attributed back to AFTV, where it didn't all start from AFTV. It was there were different sections outside of AFTV that began with Wenger out, you know, but it's attributed there, and it still is. Fair enough, because there was a lot of vocal people on there and got the most views and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But the true division is Kroenke. It's just the fan channels was you know, what does Scarface say? You need the bad guy.
AFT, you need someone to blame, innit?
So you point your finger at them and say it's your fault. Yeah. When Wenger was in charge, it was AFTV's fault because negativity. When Wenger went till now, it's AFTV's fault because they got Wenger out. You know, it's always point. Instead of let's get together. Like, fuck, you know.
It's crazy, isn't it, bro, man? It's mad. Do you know what? I wanted to look at something quick because I know you talk a lot about the finances and stuff like that, which I agree with, and I think this owner. Look at this picture here, if you can see this on the screen, right? Arsenal's most expensive signings.
I don't even have to look up. I don't have to look up. I remember this picture. Does it show that before?
You remember this picture?
Oh no, this is another picture. Okay.
This is another. If you're Stan Kroenke, I'm playing a little bit of a different role here, by the way, because I agree Kroenke is not the right man. Yeah. Can he not turn around and say, I've given you the most expensive front three in English football there. I've given you a box-to-box midfielder. I've given you the number 10. You know, obviously some of these guys have moved on, but could he not turn around and say, you've misspent the money?
Of course he can. Of course you can. But how many times can you allow the people below you to misspend? Is it because of a lack of care, due diligence? What is it? It still comes back to you. And if you look at some of the years here, because if we was to bring up Chelsea's or United's or Liverpool's or someone, 2013 Ozil, 2020 Partey. In reality, we needed both players in 1 or 2 windows. You know, not 7 years apart. And then you see Oba and Lacazette within 6 months of each other. So all of a sudden, we bought 2 strikers within 6 months. You know,
after waiting years to get one.
Yeah, so there's evidence of misspending there, clear evidence of it. But at the same time, it still points back to Kroenke because it's like a few of those signings were misspent by Gazidis and Wenger. Then a few of those signings have been misspent by Raul and Sven and whoever else was there then. And then a couple of them now, let's see. Well, a couple of them, I say couple, it's only Thomas Partey really on this list. He's coming this summer. So we don't know if that's misspent or not. But essentially, he's had 3 different structures misspend his money if he wants to turn around and say that. And he has to get it right, you know. And I've given him, that's 3 chances now. I didn't even want to give him one.
Yeah. You didn't want to give him one. What do you think about this guy, bruv, at the top? Do you think, I mean, to me, I remember we did a show on, you did Supporters Club, and we spoke about that. Should we have signed Zaha or Pepe? I was very much in favour of Zaha, just because I felt he would hit the ground running. But Pepe obviously is younger, more time to develop. Maybe we needed the right winger more than the left winger. Like, what do you think is happening with this guy? Is it his fault? Is it the manager? Is it a combination of the two? Or is he just not as good as we thought?
It could be anything, Curtis. It's still all open for debate. You know, I don't think we can pinpoint and say this is the reason. Because we say, is it the manager? Is it the managers? Because he's had 3 in a year.
3 different managers, yeah.
Had a 4-month break with COVID. So let's say a year of football under 3 different managers. You know, he hasn't played 5 league games in a row. He hasn't been allowed the consistency or excuses that maybe Willian has been offered and allowed so far. He hasn't been partnered up with a consistent right back or a consistent striker or a consistent attacking midfielder for more than 2-3 games in a row. So that's things that work for him, but then maybe a lack of attitude, maybe a lack of on the pitch. It seems like he's a bit shy at times. Maybe shy is not the right word, but a bit, you know, tentative.
Like withdrawn, isn't he? Yeah, he's very within himself.
Really, I want him to be hungry, you know, and I think he can still prove himself. But at the moment, it's looking like misspent money again, you know, because if you don't create a base, which we've needed for so long, then it's hard for anyone to really flourish, because it's easy to look back at the base. And if your base is wide open and conceding goals like we have done for the 10 years previous to Arteta, you know, how much plaudits can the attackers get when it's not doing nothing but essentially top 4 or an FA Cup?
Yeah.
They're always going to either want to move on for better things or never live up to expectations because we didn't achieve what we wanted to get to.
Who would you partner at right back with him?
In our current set, I don't know much about Cedric right now. I liked him at Southampton, but he went quiet for a couple of years. So I don't know about Cedric. All I know is Bellerin and Maitland-Niles. And all I know about them two is they've both let us down an awful lot in the past 3 years, 4 years. They've both done it, Bellerin a lot more than Maitland-Niles. But Maitland-Niles has as well. But Maitland-Niles is the one to start for me.
Agreed.
I think that's just because default, when in reality, coming into the season, we should have had a starting right back and a backup right back. Now we've got 3. How does that work? You know,
and we're not sure if any of them are good enough. That's the crazy thing. Like,
we know 2 of them are not, because Maitland-Niles is not going to be good enough for the next 10 years as right back, guaranteed. So, and Cedric is 4 years in him if he proves himself, which again is doubtful right now.
I mean, what I thought was interesting is someone just said there in the comments, Pep Guardiola signed a new contract at Manchester City.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ultimately, if we're trying to get back to the top of English football, which we hope, I mean, Liverpool and Manchester City right now, there's even rumours there saying that they reckon he signed the new contract because they think he's going to get Messi in the summer. How do we bridge that gap? Do you think we can bridge that gap with these owners, or do you think until these owners go, we cannot get back to that?
We are never winning. We are never winning the league with Kroenke in charge. Never.
I agree with that.
We can get close. We can maybe challenge on the one-off, but we're not going to win it under him. You know, the amount of stars that have to fall in place for that to happen for us, under Kroenke is mad. So I say it with my chest that we're not going to do it. And I say it because when we was top 4 all those years, and Kroenke had the chance to build off of a base of top 4 consistently, he didn't. You know, he didn't. So what I believe now is the most we might get is back into top 4. But once that money starts rolling back in and the numbers start going back up and the loss turns into a profit again, it's, let's hold back a bit now. It's going on the right path again. Yeah. Because they haven't given me no evidence to say if we do start getting top 4 again, they will build on it. So why am I going to give them the chance to do it again? Hence why I really say every interview that we need to put pressure, because if you're not doing it now, you're going to do it in 5 years. And if you're not doing it then, you're going to do it in 10 years. And by then, let's hope I'm alive. But I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on.
It's true, man, because you look at some of them transfer windows and you think we was one player. I think the Leicester title should have been our title. If we'd have signed a top striker that January, we would have won the league that year.
Yeah.
Giroud obviously dried up that season and cost us really. But how do we... Because to me, I can't see how you get these owners out of the club. They don't turn up at the games. Majority of the time, they're in America, so going crazy at the game doesn't work. If you leave your seat empty, they'll sell that ticket to someone else. You know, protests. You've tried the protest route, although I still believe there could be a route to do that again, but it's very difficult. And obviously, you got negativity thrown at you that you shouldn't have. How do we actually get these guys out of the club? Or is it just a case of do we have to get worse for them to actually put their own hands up and say, you know what, we're not making money anymore. Now we're going to sell them.
I think we can potentially get worse. I don't think we have to. If we consistently stay around this now, it's a ticking time bomb for them to sell up, because last year was the first year we made a loss since we left Highbury. We was the second richest club at that point, you know, but now we're making loss. And this year is guaranteed. December's round the corner. It's going to be guaranteed a bigger loss than last year. So 2 years in a row, we would have made a loss. That's affecting the pocket. Now, the Adidas deal is set. They're getting money every year for that. It's agreed. It doesn't really matter what you do merchandise-wise now. Obviously, keep it limited if anyone is listening. But in the last year of that deal, if you do not buy and the sales go way down, that is when there's impact, because Adidas will be like, hold on, that last year was fucked. And they'll turn to the club and be like, yo, like, we can't offer you the same money. Look at what we've just done over the last year. And then it becomes a bigger problem for Arsenal and potentially us, because then we can't get as lucrative an offer. That's why we might go backwards before we go forwards again. But we've just got to try hard. I know it's hard with the amount of shit they bring out. Just got to try hard to spend as little money as possible. I think it's a blessing that they're feeling the financial impacts of no games right now, because if that risk was around the corner again when fans are allowed back in, and there are boycotts after lockdown is locked off and games go ahead, then they'll realize that this is not what we want. What we lost the first time round was peak. So let's, so it's going to be in the pockets, and by the pockets, I mean in their bottom line. And the bottom line is going to take a long time for us to really affect it. And even with the vision, we can affect it, as long as everyone slows down with the buy-in at the very least. And with kids, it's hard as well. When you got kids, you want to buy them, you know, it's hard, because I usually do buy them the kits. But now I'm just like, fam, let me try call up China and see what fakes are going around.
That's getting the bootlegs back, you know. You have to just hand wash them, innit?
I'm like, I told people already from about 2011 till we signed Ozil.
Yeah.
No, 2011 from 08 or something till we signed Ozil. I was buying fake shirts every year because I was like, fuck this.
This guy, man.
Are they mad,
this is why to get you on here, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, bro. Fuck that. They used to, when we was growing up, they used to make a home and away shirt for 2-3 years.
Yeah,
and started changing to every year, and every year you're selling the best players, and you want me to buy a new shirt, man? Let me go soccertriads.com, man. That was it back then, anyway. That was the one back then. I don't think it's worked no more, but
no. Do you know what, bro? I know someone, right, who works in the Arsenal shop, and he said to me, I've never seen a year where the club have brought out this much training kit. Have you seen how many training kits they're bringing out, bro? They brought this
out now.
Red poppy one. They brought that Pharrell Williams splash paint one. They got blue one. They got some Europa League black one. They got that yellow one. I said, bro, they're just ripping the fans off this year.
Yeah, they more this year. You know, they rip the fans off every year, but more. And the training tops are like £5 less than the shirt.
There you go. Yeah.
Think about training. What the hell?
They're gonna wear it about 5 times, bro. Do you know what I mean?
It doesn't make no sense. I just saw the recent one that come out, that red and black one, lad. I don't know what's going on. It looks like
and
pajamas.
It's sad, sometimes, you know, it does. It looks like some Christmas thing. Sometimes you see it and you go, do you know what? I don't like the club the way they're moving, but I like that top. And you have to kind of hold back. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
sad, man. They know they've got us. But looking ahead, looking at the manager and the next 3 games, obviously we got Leeds, Wolves, Tottenham. What do you think? What do you think we need to be taking out of them next 3 games? What would make you happy out of that realistically?
What would make me happy?
Oh,
Six to
no,
nine.
no. What? Yeah, 6 to 9. 6 to
Yeah,
9
six
points.
to
Really.
nine would make me happy.
Anything.
Two wins minimum make me happy. What I expect is 2 to 4.
2 to 4. 2 draws and a defeat. Potentially.
Potentially, yeah. Well, what you think? Leeds draw,
Probably
Wolves
right.
draw, and Tottenham L doesn't sound like something that can happen.
It sounds realistic, don't it? That's
Yeah.
the crazy thing.
Yeah, and even if you do the Leeds game at L and then a draw with Wolves and Tottenham, that sounds real. Any one of those teams can beat us. Any one of those teams we can beat. Any one of those games can be a draw. It's none certain, but if we don't come at the back end of that with 6 to 9, then it's big concerns, but it's the same concerns. I'm not saying it's big concerns for Arteta. It will be, but it's the same concerns, and people shouldn't forget that. It's the same thing we were saying last December. It was the same thing we were saying under Wenger. Let's not forget that it's the same shit happening again. We can't keep on blaming the man that's put in place to try and work under these conditions. People use that as a sticking, as people under Emery said that as well. Oh, he only took the job because he knew he was going to work on. Well, everyone takes jobs knowing they're going to work under some sort of conditions. Can I knock a man for that? Or do I say respect to you for trying? Because I know you didn't want to come here and ruin your reputation, but you risked it, yeah, and you tried and it didn't work out. That's all I can say.
Big up everyone in the comments. Keep getting your comments in. We'll go just past the hour, then I'll wrap it up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Turkish's channel. Great channel out there as well. You're nearly at 30k as well, so let's hope you can get there soon.
Come on, G.
Do you know why I wanted to bring you on here? Because you've seemed very calm. I watch your content as well on your channel. You've seemed very calm in relation to Mikel Arteta. Where me, I'm starting to get very frustrated with him. Do you think that, I know what you're saying, he's working with the same circumstances as Emery and so on, but could you not turn around and say, this is the best squad or team that we've probably had in the past 2-3 years? It's better than the one that Emery had with the likes of Socrates, Iwobi, Lichtsteiner, people like that. Should he be getting more out of this team? Should he be getting more out of these attacking players that we've spent so much money on?
As much as is it the best team? It's yeah. I guess it is, but then you have to say that it's just about the best team.
Just about, yeah.
In the last few years, and there's still a massive imbalance. Look at the people that have cost games this season. I've said it on many channels already. Mustafi against Leicester, Xhaka against Leicester. Xhaka lost to Cengiz Ünder in the middle, and Mustafi, God knows where he was for Vardy. 2 players who cost us since Arsene Wenger. Liverpool and Man City, Bellerin was partly at fault for every single goal against Liverpool and Man City. Bellerin's been around since Arsene Wenger. Lacazette missed many chances, missed against Liverpool at 2-1, missed against Leicester at 0-0, and missed other chances along the way too. He's been here since Arsene Wenger too. Then we might go to who else has been here since Wenger? Well, Mustafi, Xhaka, Bellerin,
El Neni.
El Nene, yeah, he's been here, but he's been all right for his.
He's been all right, yeah.
But my thing is, it's the same old players, So as much as yes, we do have a better all-round team, just about, it's not made that much of an impact on the first team squad because we're still playing Oba and Laka. Oba and Laka were playing under Wenger, Emery, and now Arteta. It hasn't worked out once. Oba and Laka maybe had a 7-game period in the 3 years where they played good stuff together and it worked well on the pitch, but it works better off the pitch. They're friends off the pitch, not really on the pitch. You don't see that. I know they want it to work, but they don't have the skill sets to play off each other, but we still go with it and it's still costing us, Do
you know what? I want to address this comment quick. Sorry to interrupt you, man, because man's saying, Curtis, you didn't just start getting frustrated. You never wanted him and you never backed him. It's not nice to pretend. Now, listen, I don't particularly care who the manager of Arsenal is. just as long as you do the best for the club, you get the most out of the team. I didn't want Mikel Arteta at the start, but when he came in, I kind of got with it. I saw what he could possibly bring to us. Ex-player, young coach, learned under Pep. You know, he's going to do a lot on the training ground. So in terms of saying I never backed him, I think that's very harsh. I have backed him, and I am still backing him. I remember, again, we did a supporters club when Emery left. I was saying Mourinho. I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, was you saying, who was you saying? Poch. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, which surprised me at the time as well when you said that. But I can see why a lot of people kind of wanted Poch. Mm-hmm. You know, when we got Mikel Arteta, was you thinking in your head, they've gone for the cheap option? They've gone for somebody they can possibly control? Or did you think it's a bit of a revolution and, you know, Chelsea have gone for Lamps, United have gone for Ollie? This is kind of the route everyone's going for now.
We had no money for a manager.
That's mad, isn't it?
We had no money for a manager. Like, we was told that for a reason, because we probably wanted maybe a bigger name. Maybe they admitted bigger name was needed, but we went for Arteta. But then again, Arteta did say he essentially rejected it 2 years before when Emery came in.
Yeah,
he said that he was asked and he didn't feel like he was ready. So maybe this was the long-term plan. You know how players have become managers over the years, like Guardiola, like Simeone, for example.
Yeah.
Very successful managers over the last few years or so. They probably tried to make this one be the one, and it might work out, but they're not going to be the one without the correct support. You know, like Klopp came in, and even though he works under conditions that, you know, you wouldn't look on paper and say they should win the league.
Yeah,
he made it work because of assets. If they didn't sell Coutinho, they wouldn't be where they are now. 100%. Massive asset, good negotiation. They got more than Coutinho will ever be worth and more. And then they built and won the league and Champions League off the back of that. You know, shrewd signings, a couple of massive runs, and they did their thing. We haven't got those assets.
Not now.
And we haven't got those assets because of a self-sustaining model that this board put us under. You know, and it's good and well telling us self-sustaining when we have a stadium to pay off and we understand that, okay, the first 10 years moving in, or we thought we understood, we gave them the benefit of doubt and said, yeah, you know, it makes sense. You have to pay it off. So self-sustaining and all of that, cool. But self-sustaining got us into this position. It got us into a loss-making company, brand, football club, whatever you want to see it. So how the hell is self-sustaining going to get us back out? You know? So for me, it comes down to a lot more than them thinking Arteta is the next Simeone or Guardiola or Klopp or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, do they want to show ambition? That is the key. Do they want to change it up? Do they want to win? Like Roman wants to win.
Yeah,
you know, because
that's true.
Even though Klopp does it at Liverpool, Roman does it at Chelsea. You know, Roman, the ambition comes from him.
It does.
And work its way down. With Klopp, he had to come in. He probably had to have a few fights behind the scenes first, and he won over the top. You know, can Arteta do that? I'm not sure. You know, I do still feel like Liverpool's owners are a bit more, you know, open-minded and ambitious than Kroenke is, and they probably, I don't know if they have less interest than Kroenke, but Kroenke's got a hell of a lot of businesses that probably takes up the majority of his time. We're just that one that, you know, he gets a couple emails a day about.
Exactly. I mean, I just wrote a short list here just quickly, right? Because you was talking about the assets there. Alexis Sanchez, we turned down 60 million. He was probably worth 80 million at the time. He had a year left on his deal. We swapped him for Mkhitaryan. We all know how that went. Mesut Ozil, 42 million. He's going to leave on a free in the summer. That's two players we've missed out. Aaron Ramsey should have been 30, 40 million attacking midfielder. Goes for nothing. Danny Welbeck, England international, should have got 10 or 15 for him. Jack Wilshere, he weren't at his best, but still should have got 10 or 15 for him. We've missed the assets. We've had the assets there where we could have said, all right, Sanchez wants out, but we're going to cash in and get a sufficient replacement. Mesut Ozil, they've missed the boat. So the self-sustaining model, they've missed that. So that's all gone out the window to me now. It's like you've got to change the plan now.
Yeah, and I'd put more money on those figures, because as much as you're right in the figures because of a year left, I'm looking at it like, fuck that, I ain't giving you the benefit of the doubt because he's got a year left. It's your fault he's got a year left. He should have 3 years left, and we should be able to get 120 mil for Sanchez. 50 mil for Ramsey, because they should have years left. So in reality, it starts looking a bit more like, oof. Coutinho, for example, didn't he sign a new contract 6 months or a year before?
5-year deal a year before,
Because
so he had 4
Liverpool
years.
said to him, listen, sign and we'll sell you when we get the right figure. Just trust us. And they did it because they negotiated well. At least their board do that,
Yeah,
Ours fucked all over. Even if we go to negotiation, and it's not Kroenke, it's not Arteta, but the people they're negotiating, dead from Dick Law to Vinay to all of these men.
yeah. No, you make a great point, man, because we've got to a point now where, because we're allowing these contracts to run down, you get yourself in a position like we just saw with Aubameyang, where you literally got to give him whatever he wants because you're almost desperate. They've done the same thing with Lacazette. Lacazette's got a year left this summer. We'll either keep him and run down his contract, or we'll sell him for about 20 million if we're lucky. They just don't seem to learn, and they come out with these interviews, Vinay and Raul, we're never going to let anybody run down their contract. And then a year later, they do it. I mean, Aubameyang, if he wanted to, could have just said, I'm not signing nothing. I'm going to see that deal out and go,
We've got Lacazette now with 2 years left, isn't it?
He's got a year in the summer. So
he's another one that it goes against what they told us, and no one's ever held culpable. They tell us things and we just move on like willy-nilly, like, fuck it, positive. It's not positive if they're telling man one thing and continually doing the other. Because 2 summers ago, I said, if Oba's not signing a contract, you're going to have to think about selling him, because the price of Oba right now, 29 years of age, top goal scorer in Prem, you might need to think about it if he's not signing. Cool, you didn't. I understand. Fuck it. I understand. He scored another 20 goals or whatever he scored, and we were 8th. Yeah? Now you've got another decision to make. Is it worth giving 300, 400K to this man at 31 years of age, or do you sell him for 20, 30 mil because you've left it late again? They probably thought, and this is the one where they got backed in the corner. And I actually thought to myself early on, this summer, and before the season ended, even before COVID, I said, we're going to have to think about potentially selling Oba, because giving him 400K could bite us in the ass like it did with Ozil. Because at 33, 34 years of age, if he's not producing what he was producing over the last 3 years, it's not going to be adequate enough. And at those wages, people say you shouldn't talk about wages much. I don't want to, but I expect the highest earners to be performing the best, like every business, like Argos, like Royal Mail, like fucking every business expects the highest earners to be performing the best. And if they're not, change. So again, we've shown mismanagement there with a contract. And again, we might not hear the end of this one. Like Willian too, 3-year contract.
Insane. We just worked so hard to get Mkhitaryan off the books, and we've basically replaced him with Willian, the same sort of player, a winger who was really good, who's kind of past it, and then you've given him 3 years. That deal is insane to me. Like, I actually don't mind Willian as an addition to the squad. If we'd have took him for a year, just said, we'll give you a year, see if you can help. If it don't work, who cares? To give the guy 3 years is an insane decision. Like,
he's a legend at their club, and they still didn't want to give him 3 years, But here we are. Here you go, mate. They don't want to give it to you. Come over here, like Czech and like Louise. Come and enjoy for a few years over here, mate. It's no problem. We'll give you a bit of money. Play good once every 10 games. It's all good. Give away the most red cards and penalties you can. You'll still get another year on your contract, mate. Don't worry about that. Oh, you're signing for Chelsea again after the Europa League final. Don't worry, mate. Play, do your thing. We are doomed.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. And we've tried to go in all these directions. It's like, we went Gazidis, then he went. We said, get Sven Mislintat and we'll sign all the young players. And then they get rid of him. They bring in Raul. They want to deal with the big agents.
Yeah.
Then they get stung on the Pepe deal and the Cedric Suarez deal. And then they revert to Edu in the end. It's like, who is making these decisions, bro? It's mad.
Exactly. We've gone back to the same model we moaned about 2 years ago, and no one cares. We've gone back to the same model we got fed up with Wenger for within 2 years, and none of these fans are batting an eyelid. They're not thinking, You lot didn't even try to do this modern era structure thing. You just
Yeah,
went
yeah.
back to that.
Straight
Come
back to it.
on. Come
Let
on.
me just read these super chats quick. Vinay said we were decent under Emery while attacking. Now we are decent defensively under Arteta. We need to find the right balance.
We
I
don't
suppose
have it in the squad.
we don't have it. Nah, I think the midfield is a problem as well, man. Cy Tyson said, Turkish, what front three would you like to see versus Leeds?
Saka, Alba, Pepe.
I think everyone's saying that front three now, aren't they? But
Yeah.
is he gonna pick that? Is a different story, man. Just quickly, Rully said, thumbs up both best pair of gunners. If Isco in, then get Danny out.
Listen, if it's a loan signing, I don't mind, innit? But again, it's a plaster, and it can only be till the summer. Like Danny Ceballos should be another example of a plaster. Not good enough. On loan again. Fans went wild again because Zidane apparently wanted to keep him. Do you think that man is Real Madrid quality level? Nah, not a chance, bro.
Would you not have a slight temptation that James Rodriguez would have been looked upon in a similar way to Isco? He's come to the Prem and he's doing the business.
Definitely. But I also feel like someone like Everton can afford to take that risk in terms of stature. You know, there's not as much eyes on Everton as there is on Arsenal. You know, there's not as much pressure on shoulders at Everton as there is on Arsenal. The pressure's mounting there with Ancelotti in charge and the direction they're going. But I think right now, you know, it's similar to the Saliba thing. I tell people that say Fofana starting for Leicester. I say there's not many eyes on Leicester compared to Arsenal. Fofana could have the worst game in his career next game, and he won't be lambasted on Twitter and laughed at for months on end. Whereas Saliba has a bad game for Arsenal, he could be a meme for the rest of the year or two, and that could affect the man. You know, so the pressure levels are different. So I get it.
I got two final questions for you. Right, number one. What do you want to see Arteta change on the pitch, like in the next few games? What would you like to see formation-wise? And do you want to see us be a little bit more attacking, or do you think we have to?
Yeah, we have to change now. I want to see 4-3-3. I want to see Bellerin drop for Maitland-Niles, Pepe right wing, and Saka left wing with Oba up top. I think that's what I want to see.
Yeah, no, I think everyone's asking for that. And then finally, where do you think realistically we can finish this season? What do you think we're capable of doing under this manager?
4th to 12th.
Bro, 12th.
4th to 12th. Bro, I don't know, bro. I can't lie to you. We're 4th to 10th. I don't know, man.
And anywhere in between.
Yeah, it could be anywhere in between. That's the stretch I'm going for. We could finish top 4, 4th, or we could finish 10th again.
If he doesn't finish in the top 4 or win the Europa League, is his job on the line for you? Would you say move him on, or do you think we got to give him another season?
Of course, you're going to have to consider moving him on, but I can't trust this board to get the right manager in place. So I hope that the pressure is on all of them. If it is on Arteta, cool, but make it on the board too. Change up the whole gaff, like not just change up the face of it all the time.
Yeah, change the whole thing. Turkish, it's a pleasure having you on here, bro. It's been great talking to you, man. Hopefully, I'll come back on your channel sometime over the next week or so. Everyone, go and subscribe to Turkish's channel. Nearly at 30k. Let's get him to 30K.
No dislikes as well. 200 likes, no dislikes.
Jeez, I'm sure they'll change that eventually. But you must have been talking some sense, bro. They must have loved it. Big up, everyone. Subscribe to my channel as well. Subscribe to Turkish. I'll be back on tomorrow, actually. I got a Leeds United fan on for a preview tomorrow. Check that out. And I'll be back tomorrow. Big up everyone in the comments. Bless Turkish, man.
Come on, G. Love people. Love. Hit the like button on the way out.
Yeah, man.